What's going on, ladies? I know you already have two questions on your mind. One, did I gain weight? Yes. I don't want to talk about it. Two, do I have a mic in my hand? And why are we? Well, that's three questions, I guess. And why are we on the blackboard? Well, I want to go into a deep dive. A lot of women ask me questions about why men pull away, what they're thinking, what they're doing, will they come back, what's their strategy, all those type of things, right? So I just wanted to make one really big video about the topic. If you watch this entire video until the very end, I think you're going to have a very good understanding on what men think, what men are doing, their strategies, if they come back, if they don't come back, why, right? Just the male psychology perspective type of thing on this topic, okay? So we're going to jump right into this. I'm not going to waste your time because this is going to be a long video. The first thing, ladies, I want to talk about is why men pull away in the first place. A lot of women do not realize how important this is because what this determines is what he's thinking and if he will return, okay? So I have three different reasons on why men, in my opinion, pull away. Is there more? Yes, but these are the main three. So guy one, right, or reason I want one, I guess you could say, is it's context. Meaning if the guy is emotionally unavailable, he's not going to stick around. Context builds up, he's going to get in his head, and he's going to freak out. Now, for those who do not know, context is the things you guys do and say over time that creates a seriousness, like a vibe in the relationship that is progressing towards something, something more meaningful. A lot of depth and a lot of rapport. You're not just some random chick he met on Instagram or a dating app. There's substance there. And a lot of women, when they hear me say this, they think context is bad. When it's not, it's neutral. It depends on the two people. For example, if you and I are in a relationship or in a situationship where it's moving towards something serious and we're both mature and want the same thing and we want it with each other, context is great. We want context. It tells the other person, it's feedback. It tells the other person, hey, we're on the same page. Things are cool. There's a lot of transparency. It's going in the direction we both want. Awesome. If it's not, right? Meaning you're not on the same page or the guy's emotionally unavailable, the context builds up, right? And I'm going to put a list right here on like the different contexts, or I call it variables sometimes, things that make it feel more serious. And when these things build up, the problem comes when it builds up so much that he realizes he's obligated to give you something and he feels that pressure and pulls away. Now, the question a lot of you might have is, well, why is it later on that he feels this? Why is he not feeling this in the beginning, or does he not know? Here's the funny thing, ladies, and I know this is going to relate to a lot of you. The guy you're talking to, right, probably 40% of you, the guy you're talking to is emotionally unavailable but has good intent, meaning they want a relationship, or they think they do. Wanting a relationship and having a relationship are two completely different things. And I think that's kind of the dilemma. They don't realize that a relationship is a lifestyle that takes accountability and responsibility. And you have to take yourself off the market. But again, they don't realize that till later on. But he has good intent. He is authentic. He is being genuine. He does mean the things that he's saying to you, right? In all of that. However, in the beginning, I always tell my clients that emotional unavailability lays dormant. It doesn't sit on his shoulder saying, avoid women at all costs because you're emotionally unavailable. No, humans want interaction, especially with the opposite sex or same sex, whatever they're interested in. But in our case, women to men, they want that interaction, vice versa. Men want to attract women. They want the validation. They want the ego boost. They want to get their what wet, right? They want to get it in. We like it. But to do that, this desire comes at a cost because a man has to court you. He can't just say, hey, let me come around and hit and quit it. That doesn't work, right? Not that he wants to do that anyway. Like I said, some guys genuinely want a relationship. So what happens is he puts on not a persona, but he plays the role of the guy who wants the relationship. He likes you, and he has no reason to freak out because context isn't created yet. It's just two people getting to know each other. But when I get to know you, when I get to hang out, we're having fun, we're hooking up, we're on date 10, maybe not even that far, date 6, it can be whatever. I'm meeting your friends, we're future planning, maybe I'm the one moving real fast, the guy's moving real fast, like all this. He's going to sleep one day, wake up and be like, oh shit, what am I doing here, right? Because he has to answer to that. The analogy I always use with my clients is these guys, it's like going out and having fun at a bar. He wants to go out and have fun. He wants to party, right? Or go to whatever with his friends or you or just a group of people, family, it could be anybody. He wants to go out and have a good time. Put it on my tab, put it on my tab, put it on my tab type of thing. But then they slide the bill over at the end of the night and it's like, oh shit, I can't pay this. And then he starts having remorse. That's what it is. You don't realize it until it's too late for a lot of men, okay? I know that was a long explanation, but that is why a majority of your guys pull away. The second is about 50% of you or 50% of men is it's just lost interest. I get to know you and I think you're a great girl, but I always tell my clients there's what I call this barrier of entry. And this doesn't sound sexy, but it's the truth. I talk about 3 categories a lot. If you watch a lot of my material, I talk about the 3 categories a guy can put a girl in: friends with benefits, friend zone, and girlfriend material. But I always say that there's like this subcategory with friends with benefits, which is, I like you, you're a good chick. I don't want to see you as friends with benefits, but I don't, and this is going to hurt ladies, this is the truth, I'm just not feeling it enough to take myself off the market, okay, and commit to you, meaning give up all these other beautiful, fine-ass women for you. And it sounds harsh, but it's the truth, okay? And I hope you can see why this is important for a man coming back and what a man's thinking when he's gone. Again, we'll get into all that. And then the last guy, which, believe it or not, I think this is a smaller portion of men, even though I know you got guys playing games. But in reality, I think a lot of people who are playing games are emotionally unavailable, meaning, and again, this is a majority of your guys' situation. This is actually this too, where you have to understand we're playing a game of risk avoidance. When I say we, I mean men and women, humans, a game of risk avoidance. We want to get to point A to point B, reducing risk as much as possible. When you're talking to a guy who's emotionally unavailable, it doesn't mean he doesn't like you. When you're talking to a guy right here who's, you're not what he wants, it's not completely what you don't want, right? There's just some things here and there. So here goes another analogy I use. It's like kids with sandwiches. If there's crust on it, they don't throw the whole sandwich away. They just cut the crust off, type of thing. Like, you still have assets. You're still a valuable woman in some way. So these men, when you're in these 2 categories, which is again 90%, they don't want to necessarily cut you off completely unless they have to, because you cut them off, or it just keeps on happening. Drama back and forth, like there's no solution. He can't commit and you're not caving in, or just stuff like that. What ends up happening is, like I said, it could seem like games because a guy doesn't want to let you go, so he's going to do or say or whatever, perform some type of act to keep you around, give you hope, and then kind of hope, fuels like you staying around and him taking advantage of the fact, right? I call it borrowed time. As you can tell, I have a lot of definitions for things. So hopefully, I know that's a long explanation, but with that being said, now we move down here. Elliot, what the hell's this? This is kind of how everything I just explained is how these guys act and react over time. So this is the scale, okay? And when you're talking to a guy 1, again, the emotionally unavailable context guys, and again, the beginning, good intent, but there's certain variables, the ones I listed earlier, have come up. And these things get in a guy's head, freak him the F out because he feels obligated to give you something that he can't give you, right? He feels that pressure. Now, the question a lot of my clients come to me with is, not even question, just remorse, like they beat themselves in the head over if I just didn't say this, if I just didn't do that, or if I did this thing differently, he would still be around and we would still be talking, maybe in a relationship. He said it was X, Y, Z. He said it was this and this that were the problem. No, hunt. That's not how it works. I promise you, as an emotionally unavailable man in my 20s, I went to therapy for it. And as someone who, again, doing this for like 11 years now, they always find a reason. They always find a reason to justify their actions in pulling out, right? And pulling away. It doesn't matter if you did everything right. He will find something. I had a girl who was actually, not mine, but a client, a good-looking client, attractive client, good woman, good head on her shoulders. Nothing really wrong. When she was telling me a story, nothing wrong with her, right? This guy's excuse was her hairstyle. And she didn't even have a bad hairstyle. It was the Rachel, like from Rachel Green and Jennifer Aniston. It was a good hairstyle on her. She was gorgeous, but that was his thing. And he said, it reminds me too much of Rachel Green. Who doesn't want a girlfriend that looks like effing Jennifer Aniston in her primes? When I say, sorry, you know what I'm saying though. Like, who doesn't want, that was his excuse. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Come on, man. So, they will always find a reason. I'm just telling you this so you don't beat yourself up over it. It's not your fault. You can't change it. Don't lose any sleep. Sleep soundly, okay? The second guy, again, the one who lost interest, what ends up happening is he kind of goes through this kerfuffle. He kind of goes through this dilemma where he's unsure to keep you around or let you go because of what I said earlier. And I don't want you to think like he's doing that in a way of like playing you. He does like you. But you have to understand what you're asking of a guy for commitment. You're asking a guy whose sexual strategy from an evolutionary perspective, that's not just me saying that like guys being pigs, but from an evolutionary perspective, guys like numerous women. They like attention. They like talk, and they will commit to the right one. It's basically him asking himself, are you the right one, right? So when he's going through this dilemma, he's on the journey of finding the right girl. I have the word curious right here, right? So he's going through it and he's finding out these variables, these points along the way. And then he realizes if you're the one or not, right? Simple as that. And then the last guy, I just have a word, ass. He's just an ass. Don't even deal with him. It was never going to work out anyway. He's a fucking pig. Again, wasn't going to work out. But again, the reason I'm saying all this, ladies, is it's very important to understand why men pull away. These are the three main reasons. Now, with that being said, a lot of women will ask me, okay, great. I sound like I'm talking to all three guys, or I'm dating all three guys. How do I know which one is which? I'm going to give you two ways to find out, okay? Number one is absolutely free. You can get my guides. I have 9 guides down below. I even have it right here. One guide where you can filter guys. I have another guide talking about the whole psychology on dating, what guys you're looking for and things like that. I have another guide literally called How to Tell If a Guy Likes You or How Much a Guy Likes You, right? Or how much he's into you, something like that. And it's a complete guide on how to tell accurately how much a guy likes you from a number 1 to 10, okay? That's the first thing. Free, all 9 guides down below. The second thing is, I'm going to give you a little thing here, okay? And I'll go into detail on it. So how do you know if you're talking to the emotionally unavailable man who likes you, but he self-sabotages? He gets in his head. He can't get out of it. It sucks. Now, before we get into this, I want to let you know, ladies, that if you're talking to a guy who's emotionally unavailable and you feel, oh, he says he wants a relationship, so I guess he does. He just doesn't see me as the girl. He's going to date the next girl. No, he's not. No, he's not. And they never do. They never do. If you can leave a comment, I guess, Elliot, you're wrong. The guy is married to the girl now. Whatever, I don't care. A huge majority of the time, you have to understand that emotional unavailability, if he's truly emotionally unavailable, maybe your guy wasn't. If a guy's truly emotionally unavailable, it's very hard to fix. Meaning, he will date you. You were not the first. You're not going to be the last. There was a path of destruction before you. You got in the way, or you were a victim, unfortunately, and there's going to be one after you. Always that way. Always that way. Okay? So, how do you know you're talking to an emotionally unavailable man? The first thing, I kind of have that over here, and I have a guide on this literally. I tell women, do your detective work. What does that mean? You have to look at his dating history. Is he newly single? If not, how long has he been single? If you're talking to a guy who's been single for 4 years, says he wants a relationship, right? You're not going to get a relationship, hon. If he's single 4 or 5, I don't know the actual number. I'm just saying if he's been single for a very long time and says he wants a relationship, you're talking to a guy who self-sabotages. It's crazy. Women will be talking to me about men where they live in San Diego, they live in LA, they live in, whatever, Texas, Austin, they live in Miami, New York, and this guy says he wants a relationship and he's been single for 4 years. It's not that hard, dude. It's not that hard, especially and these aren't like goofball looking dudes. I know you don't date, hopefully you guys don't date fucking duds or guys named like Harry, Larry, or Frank, or some date normal motherfucker. Like these aren't weirdos. These are normal looking, decent guys, who take care of themselves. They can get a fucking woman. But he's been single for 4 years? Yeah, you ain't changing that. That's not you, girl. Trust me, right? So doing your detective work. How long has he been single? If it's too long, problem. If it's too short, meaning under a year, another problem. Was he cheated on in his last relationship? If so, could you still get a relationship? Yeah, but usually emotional unavailability comes from that. Does he say he wants a relationship? Like all these things are very, very, very important, okay? Another thing, you have to look at the pace. If you want to figure out if a guy is emotionally unavailable, or the guy you're talking to is emotionally unavailable, the fastest thing is the pace because of the psychology I talked about back here. They have good intent. They are decent people, just very flawed, okay? So you'll be talking to him. Things will be going well because he does like you and it is genuine, but he gets in his head halfway. When I say halfway, I mean about like the 4 to 6 date mark. That's when a lot of context builds up, especially if he's moving kind of fast. And then it kind of dives, right? So I kind of have that stuff here, right? He's intense early on, meaning I'm not saying like he tells you he loves you or wants to marry you, but you feel he's a little intense. He doesn't even have to say certain things. Maybe it could just be his actions. Like he's texting you a lot and he's texting you all the time. And just because you like that, just know, do some reflection. It's probably because you like validation or you're trying to fill a void yourself or insecurity or you like a needy man because it feels you're an anxious attachment type. Just again, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying be aware of it. Just because a guy is intense and you like it, doesn't mean it's always a good thing because there's always like this retraction that comes from it after. So guys are intense. And again, that's not just words. That could be actions. It goes at a very fast pace. I had a client yesterday where she saw for the first week, she started dating a guy. She saw him 3 times. There's a reason she's talking to me. That's too fast, right? Sudden drop. Like I said, around the 4 to the 6 week or date mark, you'll start to see it like this, and then it'll go like that, right? Now, when I say drop, let me just say something. There's nothing wrong with it going like this and then kind of mellowing out. You're not going to get a guy who's always fucking like, ooh, yeah, this Sally's so amazing. It just goes like this forever. No, that's unrealistic. You want something that goes like this, and you want something that kind of mellows, or, that kind of like just sustains. But if you have it like this, and it's just going down, not good. And of course, lastly, I have a lot of my clients deal with this. Things are going well and there's still a problem, right? If you're talking to a guy who basically blindsides you, or things are going well and you're intimate and you guys get along all the time, and last week he was telling you how crazy he was about you, or whatever it is, you just met his friends and family, or last week he said he wants you to meet his mom, and then this week he's acting different, that's a problem. Guys, it always happens. It's the irony of it is, I don't know if this is irony, but the funny thing about it is you will see more emotionally unavailable men when things are going well. You're not going to see it if you have a casual relationship because he has nothing to worry about, so that's kind of funny. It's kind of a food for thought thing to think about, right? So the second guy, okay, how do you know if this is the dude? It goes at a natural pace. You're seeing him once a week, some weeks twice a week. You text every day, but it's not effing crazy like full-blown text all day, every day, but just you text every day. And when something is wrong, you might see a natural, or if he's not feeling you, you start to see, like I said, it's like this, getting to know you, then you start to see a kind of a slow decline. But the thing with the slow decline is he's good at communicating it. If you say something, he'll be transparent. Or if you ask for something, something wrong, he'll be transparent with you. Even then, he'll pull you aside and let you know for real, like what's going on, because he doesn't want to waste your time. He values your time. That's another one. I guess I should put value time under here. And of course, lastly, the guy, number 3, the asshole, the player. He's inconsistent. Sometimes they're inconsistent from the very beginning. They're low investment. They're hot and cold, meaning he's hot when he wants something. And this tricks women all the time. He's hot when he wants something. He's cold when he doesn't. Basically, it's based on convenience. And a lot of women will justify this to say, well, if he didn't want anything or if he didn't want me, then why'd he come back around? Because you got a vagina, woman. That's why. Because you got some sugar walls. And he wants those sugar walls. And the fact that you're willing to deal with the low investment and inconsistent and still talk to him, you're putting a price tag in your vagina that says 50% off. That's why. I'm just letting you know. I'm sorry. But that's why, right? And of course, here's another thing that women fall for, and they're really good at this. They're very, very, very good at this. They will do a lot of upfront investment, okay, and then transition to casual. Now, why is that? 2 reasons. One, I just kind of explained. If you're dealing with the inconsistency and low investment, a lot of the reasons why women do is because he was good the first week or 2 or whatever, and she saw that, and she wants to get it back to that. She's hopeful it would get back to that. I saw the good side of him. And I want to get it. I want that. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is the reason he does this is it's just so convenient for him. If he can lure you in with the heavy investment, get you attached, right? Then he can treat you casual, or be like, when I say casual, I just mean low investment, inconsistent, ask you to come over instead of taking you out. Most of the times you guys get together, it's messing around, even if it's a fucking make out session. You don't have to have sex, just, whatever, just something more physical instead of actually investing and working on depth, rapport, substance, taking you out and getting to know you, show you off, this is my girl, like that type of stuff. It's just very low effort, low investment, brings you over and things like that. But again, it works because we're humans, right? We make decisions based on emotions. If you are emotionally attached to him, it's easier to manipulate you, okay? So this is the first part. Now, hopefully you all get it. Let's move to the next one. Male journey. What does that even mean? Why is it so important? When I explain this to my clients, I do it to give them a very good understanding of the process a guy goes through when he pulls away. At the end of the day, this is just a process that a man comes to the conclusion, or I guess at the end of it, he comes to the conclusion that he's either a genius or an effing idiot for making the decision to break up with you, and or you break up with him because he's doing dumb shit, right? This is the process he goes through. And the reason I explain it to my clients is they always want to know how much he's thinking of me, when he's thinking of me. Is he going to come back? Is he going to regret his decision? And I'm going to explain all that in this section, okay? So there's 4 areas that are, I guess, pillars a guy goes through. The very beginning, when he leaves you, I call this the explore. It's explore because it's like you're pushing the baby bird out the nest, or the kid going off to college. They're off starting their own journey. They're making the decision to progress forward. After the decision of leaving you or dumping you or you pulling whatever. Okay. Then the next one is he has to live with that decision. He's making that decision. He has to live with it. Then after that is the reflect, and we'll get into all what it all means. There's the reflect, and then there's the adapt. The total amount of time this should take for a guy. So if you're asking, when will I hear from him? It's between 1 to 3 months. Okay, that's when you're on average. I know that's a big gap, but that's when on average you're going to hear from a guy. So why those numbers? First thing, explore. When you are talking to a guy and he pulls away for whatever the reason was that I gave you previously, you have to understand that he is in the mindset of pulling away, meaning everything from the moment you guys met till the moment he pulled away, everything in between, he has all that information and came to the conclusion to go on this journey, okay? To leave because I wasn't fulfilled for whatever reason, or there was too much pressure if it's the emotionally unavailable guy, or I didn't find what I was looking for. Again, this is why it's very important to have the whole first part, the different types of reasons or guys that pull away. He has a reason. He's justified it with all the evidence and information he has got up to that point, and thinks, important part, that it's better to go off and look for another. He is taking that risk because he thinks it's the right move. Which, by the way, before we go forward, I think that says a lot. And a lot of clients don't look at it like that, or a lot of my viewers at least. Well, my clients don't either. I tell them that and I really emphasize this, just like I am now, you have to understand, you're talking to a guy who talked to you for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is, and he feels with all the information, everything you went through, good or bad, whatever. Now, if it's bad or you're always arguing, okay, I can understand it. But let's say you guys were decent for the most part. He still thought it was best, his best move was to sayonara, see you later, and go on this journey. So right there, ladies, I think that tells you a lot. I think that says, this guy ain't worth it, or I want to give this guy another shot, whatever. But I know we're human, and that's not the case. But like I said, so he's going on this journey. He's in this mindset. That's why I say 1 to 3 months. Could you have a guy come back earlier? Yeah, I just had a client yesterday where a guy came back. Was it yesterday? Yeah, 3 weeks ago, right? Or they didn't talk for 3 weeks and he came back. I remember running back to my ex one time, like day 29 or something, or 28, something like that, right? Like, could you have it? Of course. But I don't want to say any earlier because I want you guys for 2 reasons. one, to get on with the moving on process. Like, don't sit there waiting for him. Like, get it going. Like, this guy doesn't deserve you if he's willing to walk away, or you're pulling away or calling it quits because of the bullshit he's doing. Number one. Number two, kind of what I have right here. He's in the narrative of pulling away. He's not going to wake up the next day. And he could, but on average, a majority of the guys don't wake up the next day thinking, oh man, I'm an effing idiot. No, not really. He thinks, I'm free. Thank the Lord. I don't got to deal with this crazy ass chick anymore, or have someone breathing down my damn neck because I don't text her back right away. Even though I told her I was busy, whatever shit he's saying. He's happy with his decision because he thought about it previously, and he's looking for a new answer. It's like the shiny object syndrome. He's looking for something. That itself occupies his mind, right? So the first month, he's not even thinking about shit. Then he actually is living with this decision. You got to understand, he's not just making this decision to make your life miserable. He's doing it to get something out of it. He feels, I did not like, or I was unhappy with the situation I was in, so I'm going to try to get myself into a better one. He has to live with that decision. And that doesn't even mean talking to other women. Sometimes maybe you guys are just fighting a lot, or maybe he was just effing up all the time and he didn't want you down. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't ring him, a new one, but maybe he was just screwing up all the time, or he was emotionally unavailable and he felt the pressure and he pulled away and he needed that release. Like, he needed to get away from all that pressure. Whatever it is, he feels that relief. So you could have a guy who is talking to other women back on the apps or something like that. Or you can have a guy who's just exercising his freedom in terms of time and energy and getting his Saturdays back and hanging out with the guy, like all that, whatever it is. He wants to live with this decision, like I said. And because of this, a lot of the times, unfortunately, women, he's too busy. He ain't thinking about your ass. Whatever, he ain't thinking about you. It is what it is. And at the same time, here's the really important thing. as of right now, he doesn't have the ability to regret yet, right? So that's why I have under here, I know it's a little harsh, that he don't give a shit about your fucking ratch ass. Like he don't give a shit. Like he's out doing his thing. He don't care. He just made the decision, and he doesn't have enough time or information to regret the decision just yet. Now, what do I mean by this? After so much time, we're going on to the reflect stage now. Now, why do I call it that? Because with enough time, again, between 1 to 3 months, more towards the latter, 2.5, 3 months, 2-3 months, he starts to reflect on things. I feel that when a guy is over here, liabilities, if you ever heard me talk about assets versus liabilities, it's basically the benefits you get from the guy or the guy gets from you, vice versa, whatever. You get them from him also. And then the liabilities are the negatives, right? And then the total, like the cost is the difference between the two, okay? And again, I'll just put a thing up right here so you can kind of see what those things entail and the explanation of cost. So when you're over here, liabilities stick out a lot more. There's a reason he was going through the process of, I got to look elsewhere. I'm not really feeling it. I don't know. The liabilities stick out like a sore thumb. However, time heals all wounds, baby. Time heals everything. Time makes things easier. It dilutes things. And when you're at this stage, assets start to stick out, not liabilities. They're diluted. He's away from them. He's not feeling not threats, but he's not feeling the pressure anymore. But he's still thinking about, man, she has some good ass sugar walls. Or as much of a dick as I was, she was a good ass woman. She was nice. She was caring. She was kind. She was fun to be around. I did like her. I just couldn't have a relation. Like all those things start sticking out. Assets are really magnified tenfold right here. Okay. And so that's why you're always going to have a guy, and this, by the way, this is inevitable. A guy will always go through this process. Doesn't mean he will always regret it, but he will always go through this process. It is just human nature. So when he's over here in the reflect stage, he has enough time now to know what it's like with you and without you, to know what the liabilities you have and how worthy or valuable your assets were. Because again, over here, and you all know how it is, we take people for granted. We take things of value for granted every day. Food, water, shelter, our handsome dating coach, air, friends, family, life on earth, days, today, tomorrow. Like we take shit for granted all the time because it's so abundant. When he's over here and you guys are hooking up on the regular and you're blowing up his shit on the regular, you're talking on the regular, it kind of loses its not value, but it's shininess, its appeal. Okay. Over here, when he's 2-3 months without it, it's starting to look good again, especially if he's on a dry spell and you were good, or he hasn't found another woman with an amazing personality that makes him laugh or gets him the way you do, or who is as patient as you were. Okay. So he's going to reflect on it. And then after that, we go into what I call the adapt stage. A man does not want to, well, let me actually back up. I always say not the definition of regret, but regret is self-inflicted. No one wants to feel, I am in a worse situation right now because I made a stupid decision when I had a good thing. I had a really good thing. I made a stupid decision, and now I'm in a worse position. Okay, that's why this is inevitable. A guy will always think about this stuff. So he goes back to the drawing board and thinks, shit, did I make the right decision? Did I mess up? Am I an idiot? Was she actually too good? Like, was she actually a cool chick? And things like that. Now, based on those things, he could come back or not. We'll talk about that in a little bit, like the next section. But a guy doesn't always regret. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but there is something I want to talk about here. You have to let a guy go through this process. Now, I'm not saying let guys go and then take them back at the end. Just like I said from the get-go of this section, I would tell the guy to take a hike. The fact that he's going through all this and has to be sure about you by pulling, like, get that bullshit out of here. Like, no, we're not, no one's running any fucking tests or playing games here. Be done with the dude. If he's not sure, whatever, man, he's out, okay? But again, I know you're human, and when he comes back out of nowhere, something's gonna happen inside you, and you're gonna feel a little tingly inside, whatever. And you're gonna talk to him and give him another shot. You're not just gonna block him. I know. Let me tell you something. Unless you guys got in a very bad fight or he just effed up real bad, I know you're asked. Lady, stop playing. Stop acting like you're tough. You didn't block him during all of this. None of my clients do for some reason. They don't block them, okay? If you do, leave a comment down below. God bless, girl. Good for you. But a lot of you don't. And when the guy comes back around, you're feeling all these feelings inside. But anyway, what I'm getting at with this is you have to let him go through the process. Meaning, do not, for the love of God, I have so many of you, I don't know why you want to wish him happy birthday on his birthday. Fuck his birthday. Hope his car, I'm not going to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a shit about his birthday. Oh, his mom's in the hospital? I don't give a shit. God bless her. I don't give a shit. Oh, his dog's missing? I don't give a fuck. Fuck his dog, right? Like, you all need to have that mindset. I don't know why so many of my clients, again, I know I sound like I'm yelling at you. I'm not. But so many people, I'm just appalled by it. It's just kind of funny. Like, so many people will want to wish him happy birthday to fill a void. You will want to, like, check what he's doing. Keep him on social media. Like his posts. Message me even though we haven't talked in 6 months as a client and ask me, like, what does it mean when he's posting song lyrics? I don't know. He's fucking moody. Like, I don't give a shit. I haven't talked to you in 6 months. How do I know what the hell he's doing? Like, you know, like a lot of my clients will do this. But what I'm getting at is you got to let him go through this. If you don't let him go through this, he doesn't have, he will, give me something to write. Let me give you something to write on here. He will stop right here. He will stop right here, okay? Right, boom. He doesn't need to reflect because there's no reason to reflect. Like I said, regret is self-inflicted. How can I regret my decision if there's no consequence to my actions? If there's no consequence to me pulling away? If I feel, now this might not be true. You might be like, no, I'm done. I'm just trying to be nice. But if he feels you ain't going anywhere, or he can still get you, if he feels he can still get you, then guess what? He's not, again, doesn't even have to be real. He could just believe this. He will never reflect. He will hover right here, right? Where he can have his cake and eat it too. Because if he feels he has you, he just has to come back over here, send a text, do this, do that, and he's going to because he feels he has you. And the reason he feels he has you is because you've done something to make him feel like he has it. Meaning, you're still looking at his post and he can tell, or his stories. You still have him on social media. You're wishing him happy birthday. He reaches out and you entertain it. Even if you just answer a little thing here or there. He knows he can still wiggle his way in. So ladies, when a man's going through this journey, let him drown. You know, let him not. I'm not saying, you know, let him die, but like let him like see what it's like on the deep end. You got to let a guy go through the journey. Now again, would I take him back? No, but you got to let him go through the journey. If you don't, then this is going to happen. You're going to get into a cycle where it's like this, and you know it comes back around. It's just full. I see it all the time. Don't do it. Okay. So now let's move on to the next section, talking about if the guy does come back, why he's coming back, what does it mean for you and the situation? Okay, so now he's returning. Okay, here's the first thing I want to tell a lot of women when it comes to a man returning. He hasn't regretted it yet. Okay, you might think, oh, because of what I said in my last video or my last section, the guy went through this stage and he's realizing he's an effing idiot and he comes back. He realizes he's an idiot, but not that he regretted anything. For him to regret, he has to come to the realization that he can't have you or get his place back, okay? And that's where you get the power as the woman, okay? So yes, he'll go through those stages I said, come to the realization of returning to see, the outcome. That's pretty much what it is. Now, with that being said, okay, so he returns. Now you have the power. Do I give him a chance, Elliot? Here's the thing, again, it depends on a lot of things, which we'll go over on this. But I tell women, if you say no, like, nah, dude, that's not okay. What you did, you really hurt me. You played games. You said you want a relationship, but you acting like this. I'm tired of these games. You just like my ex. I'm not saying say all this, but this might be the narrative in your head. I personally feel a guy has to jump through a bunch of hoops or loops, and I feel that there has to be kind of a nut up or shut up or shit to get off the pot kind of conversation where it's like, hey, you know what? Here's the thing. If you're coming back around, we're in a relationship. We talked for 8 weeks. You know what you want. We talked for 6 weeks, whatever it is. You know what you're getting. Or sorry, not know what you want, but you know what you're getting. Right? Should have get off the pot type of conversation. See what he says. Now, you might be like, that's a lot of pressure. No, it's risk avoidance, ladies. You got to understand, you're getting played up to this point. A lot of you, or in a lot of situations, right? So I would say no, and or have that deep conversation I just had where it's like, well, here's the parameters, right? It's like a negotiation. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. And then he'll regret it because it's like, well, fuck, I'm not in a good position right now, or she's holding my feet to the fire. But it shouldn't matter if he wants a relationship. Now, if you say yes, or you entertain him, or you do all the things I tell you not to do when the guy's going through the process, where you're still making him feel like he has a shot because you're not just cutting him off or letting him go or pulling away or deleting him from Facebook, whatever, because you're afraid that he has no way to reach out to you, which women do all this, all the time. You're going to get the same repeat, right? The same result that just happened. And you might as well watch this whole damn video again, which I know you don't want to do that. It's a long video, right? Now, why do I say it's going to repeat? Elliot, why can't you be positive? Elliot, why every time I watch your videos, you're always cynical as hell, and you always say, I get these comments all the time. Why are you always cynical? Why are you so negative? Why can't you be like Hussey? Why can't you be like that Australian guy, right? Mark Rosenfield, whatever his name is. But here's why, ladies. Because if you go back to the things that I said, the main reasons, right, the 3 different guys that pull away, the asshole, the emotionally unavailable once context builds up, and the one who realizes you're a great girl, but there's better out there. This is why that section was so important. Because one, if you're the emotionally unavailable guy, you didn't change over 3 months. Trust me, it takes years. It takes forever to fix that shit. Not only do you have to do the work to fix it, you have to realize you're the problem, and then take the actionable steps, right, to do it, and then be consistent with it. It's not something where you just come to the realization, go to a therapist once or twice, and you fix it. No, it's a real deal, right? So that guy's, didn't change. If you're the asshole, why would you assume he changed? He doesn't care. He's an asshole. If you assume he changed, you're taking the burden of risk. He's coming back around to play you just because he wants the assets. He doesn't give a shit. And unfortunately, if you're this other guy, and this is the one a lot of women justify a lot, which is maybe time without me, he realized I'm a cool chick and I'm this and I'm that. Okay, well, maybe, but he was still willing to let you go to find something better. Why would he not do that again? It's not like your value just increased and you got super hot and whatever the fuck he was looking for when he was gone. Right? Like, it's not like you changed or his mindset changed like that. What I'm getting at is I'm worried that you're going to justify it because he comes back around, which makes you feel, oh, he sees my value now. He shouldn't have, that's what I'm getting at. It shouldn't have to have you or him pulling away for him to see your value, because what I'm afraid of is you're going to fall for it and he's just using you as what I call the insurance policy until something better comes around. That's more likely, right? Now, with that being said, here's what I always tell women. When it comes to more likelihood, it's very hard to get a man to go from here to here, okay? I always say, the reason I believe it's going to happen again is that the leap, the distance is too much to close in that period of time, 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it is, 4 months, like it's very hard to make a guy you stopped talking to, a guy who was out, or he stopped talking to you, whatever, you guys just spread, went your different ways. He was talking to other women, entertaining other women. So it's not like the whole 3 months he was gone, he was worrying about you. It was just the second half, right? It's very hard to get that guy to go from here to make this jump, but this is grass, by the way, in water. I know it looks like spikes, but whatever. It's not medieval times. And this guy jumps and makes this leap and realizes, oh man, you know what? I just woke up today and I realized I love Sally. Holy moly, what was I ever think? Like, that's not going to happen. That leap is too large. That is a very, very massive gap to make, okay? So because of this, I tell a lot of my clients that what's more likely to happen is you're getting a guy who's coming back around for the assets. So this is you. You're very attractive there. You need some hip replacement. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. But, he's coming back. It's easier for a guy to come back for the assets instead of for the relationship. Like I tell a lot of my clients and viewers, there's a difference between liking you and wanting a relationship. Just because I don't want a relationship, just because I don't make this transformation, doesn't mean I still don't want these things. I do. I know I do, because I went through that whole journey and I know what I'm missing, right? And so he's going to want the things you were offering, the ego boost, the validation, the attention, right? The cute little things you were doing from him, putting up with his bullshit, the convenience, the sex, the intimacy, whatever. Like, I could see why it's just more likely. Just think of it like this, ladies. I'm not saying it never happens. It never happens. But I'm not saying it never happens. But it's more likely for a guy to want this instead of this. I feel like when feelings are so strong, you wouldn't even be his feelings are so strong and he wants the same thing as you and he's emotionally available. You wouldn't be watching a video like this, ladies. Just trust me on this. Please trust me. It's more likely he's going back for the assets, okay? And things like that. Now, with that being said, here's the most important question. A lot of women ask me, okay, Elliot, I got you. This guy, I guess he wants this or wants that, whatever. But what are the chances of him actually coming back? What are the chances that he is going to reach out and I get some type of power, or it's my turn to make a move, right? Women love that shit. I don't know why you all like that. At least my clients do. So I have a little crooked chart over here that says, yes, he's coming back. No, right? The variables that will determine if he comes back or not. So number one is for the yes, it's the likelihood he's going to get these things, okay? The likelihood he believes he's going to get these things. If it's high, he's going to do it. Trust me. You're what I call pre-qualified. If you guys don't know what that means, it's I know you know what pre-qualified means, but in dating, it means, hey, we've been through the ringer. We've been through it all. We dated. I know what your insides feel like. I know it's graphic, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we hooked up before. We don't have to go through all that. We know what each other wants, personality. We know we have chemistry. We know we like each other. It's just easier for him to come back and get that than to reset it and build and invest on somebody else. And or he can do two at the same time. Why not entertain you, who's pre-qualified, while looking for a better prospect, which again kind of goes with all the shit I just said here. It's just more convenient for him to do that. So that's the likelihood, or likelihood as a determining factor. Low cost, meaning, is she going to put me through the ringer? Is she going to do all this shit I said right here, right? Where she's going to say no, and then I got to work for it. And then on top of that, she's going to demand the relationship before I can even kiss her, which is good for you, right? But for the outcome, which again, just because you don't get the outcome you want, it doesn't mean it's a bad outcome. You don't want to be outcome dependent like that, but you have to understand he wants it to be low effort, and he will come back around if it's low cost or low effort, but that's not good for you. So if he feels like, hey man, the likelihood's high and I don't got to do much for it, the hell yeah, I'm coming back around. The ease, again, it's kind of the same thing. It's just how easy he is able to weasel his way back in versus having to explain himself and you making him work for it and you, leaving him on red and you playing hard to get and stuff like that. Another thing is the power dynamic. If he feels up to the point of, you guys starting the date versus pulling away, if you have shown a lot of variables that you are a lot more interested in him and dependent on him, or outcome dependent at least on him, than he is you, he is more likely to come around because he knows with enough time, because you're outcome dependent, he can weasel his way back in. So things like this would include you give him multiple chances, you being low effort, low maintenance, him getting it in early, him getting it in easily. Did I say low investment, low courtship, casualness or casual vibe. Again, putting up with this bullshit, I think I said that. Give him more chances than he deserves. Maybe you guys done this before where he pulled away and came back around. Like that makes it very easy, very convenient for a man. Again, he feels the power or the power dynamics in his favor. He's going to take advantage of it. And of course, lastly, what makes it more likely a yes is it didn't end on a bad note. It's not like you said F you, mother effer, and vice versa, and you guys were attacking each other. It's just like, hey, you know what? We want different things, or I feel like I'm not ready for it. Whatever. Just ended maturely to some extent if it could, and the guy will come back around, right? Now, the reasons it's a no, right, is it's high cost. You're gonna run him through the ringer. It's got kind of the same thing. You're gonna make him work for it. You're gonna play games and stuff like he just can't come back. Same thing. This is probably the biggest one right here, believe it or not, is the outcome's going to be the same. Here's the number one reason men don't return, ladies. I want you to think of it like this. The job of the organism or the species is to survive and reproduce, or survive and find a mate. We like to do that. I guess one of the best ways is like convenience. It's just ease of access, casualness, comfort, right? We love that shit. A man doesn't want to come back around. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. We like all that stuff. If there was there's a reason I was saying all that. If there was no strings attached, if you're just like, hey man, just put my legs in the air, just like you don't care, whatever, like if there was no strings attached and you were not emotional or outcome dependent on the fact, right? Why would he leave in the first place? He wouldn't. Now, of course, that's still not good for you because I always tell my clients, if you want casual, you're going to treat it casual, and it gets worse with time because you get taken for granted. But he will always eventually come back around. It's too good of a benefit not to. Unfortunately, there's always a cost, and you're paying the cost of that, right? But if it was just upside for him, he would always come back around despite you getting screwed over literally and figuratively. Now, with that being said, that's not the case, obviously. There's a reason you guys are kind of in this situation and you're not, again, it's not fair to you. Now, he knows this. You let him know this. You were very verbal and vocal or whatever with it and called him out. So he's like, fuck, whatever. I'm leading her on. I'm building a lot of context. I'm feeling pressure. I'm in my head. I'm this, I'm that. I'm all these things, right? And then he pulls away. What I'm getting at is he doesn't want to come back around and have to do all that again. Like, I always tell my clients, you have to ask the question, what if, or then what? What next? Something like that, because for a lot of a lot of women don't understand the way men process things. We don't think of it just as, oh man, coming back around and hitting it, or working my way back in and getting, and hooking up or something like that. It's what all that means. It's context. It builds up. It's not like I could just see you once and be gone. It's, well, then what? Like, I know there's strings attached. I know there's more to it. So he can't come back, weasel his way in, put all that effort in, tell you what you want to hear, do all these things, hook up with you, do this for 2 or 3 weeks, and then pull. I mean, he could, but he's an asshole. He doesn't want to deal with it again. It's not worth the effort. I was on that for like 5 minutes. I could have just said that, right? It's not worth the effort to a lot of men. So they're just like, screw it. As much as I want the assets come at a cost. It's not worth it to me. I'm out. That's the main reason a lot of guys pull away and stay away. Do they want it? Yeah, but it's just not worth the bullshit when I'm still emotionally unavailable, or I'm still a piece of shit, or I'm still looking for, you still don't have what I want, or you still want a relationship and I don't. Like, yeah, I want it, but the same thing's going to happen, right? And then the next thing is, it ended bad. There's a lot of arguing, name calling, you guys are cutting deep, playing games, whatever, which kind of leads to the next thing is, there's a lot of ego and pride involved. If a man feels like you're trying to cut deep when it comes to ego or pride, or you're trying to mess with his ego or pride, that's not good. He's not about it, okay? He's not about it. So the overall thing now a lot of women have is, okay, Elliot, let's go back here. When do I take him back? Like, when does it work? Here's my thing. If it's a situationship where you're only talking for several weeks or months, never official, he was playing games to begin with, or he's emotionally unavailable and stuff, I wouldn't even give the guy a shot. Ladies, I really wouldn't. If it was an ex-boyfriend and, I don't know, the relationship overall was well, or you talked for you have to be in I would not take the guy back if he was not in a relationship. Sorry. If you guys were not official, I would not take it back. Exclusive does not mean official. You should know that by watching my other videos. I personally think when a guy pulls away, there's a reason. It's not like he just does it overnight, even though you think he does. He doesn't. He's been thinking about it for the last week or two. I would not give these guys a shot. I don't think they deserve it. I think you're taking the burden of risk if you bring them, or if they come back around and you accept, that's this behavior or whatever. But if the only two reasons I would is if the guy is a decent dude, you guys were boyfriend, girlfriend at one time, and, whatever, no one's perfect. You have ups and downs. You take them back. Sure. Like, you try it again, whatever. Or the relationship was good overall. This guy's being very honest with, when I say relationship, I mean situationship. It was good overall. This guy was being honest with you, being very transparent, being real about things, not screwing you over. He's a decent dude. Again, being very transparent, very good at communication. And he comes back around, admits fault, admits, I messed up, it's me, it's not you. And then you guys somehow come to a conclusion. This is kind of what I mean when I say like when you say no, like you have to kind of have this talk. And you guys come up with some type of solution on making it work, okay? With all that being said, if you want to work with me, I know this is a long video, I'm sorry. And I know I went on some rants throughout it, but if you want to work with me, link is down below. I would love to work with you, ladies. If you want my 9 free guides, absolutely free, link down below. I love you all. Take care and peace.